Hey everyone, this is Mr. US History. Welcome back to a brand new video. In this video, we'll be going over my final election prediction for the 2024 presidential election. And I brought a special guest here. His name is Ben.
Hello,
Uh,
everyone.
yeah, he's been commenting on a few of my videos, and I thought it'd be a good idea for us to collab, and he's alright with it too. So, we're going to both go over our predictions regarding the 7 key swing states in this election: Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. And we both have separate maps regarding how we think each state goes. So, starting off with my map, I think that one state which I'm pretty confident of the 7 swing states that is going to go to Donald Trump is the state of North Carolina. I think he probably wins it by about 2 to 3 percentage points. Early vote data there is looking really good for Republicans. They have a 1 point lead in the early vote, and keep in mind, back in 2020, Democrats had roughly a 7 point lead in the early vote, and even the same thing happened in 2022. So this is great for Republicans in North Carolina, and I think Trump does hold on to the state. He won it in 2020. It's the one state that Democrats are pretty optimistic that they can flip. However, I don't think those plans come to fruition, and I think Republicans hold on to North Carolina. What do you
Yeah,
think
I
about
think
that?
I think North Carolina is decent. I think it's close, but I think it's still red. I
Yeah,
mean, it's not to the point where it can be flipped, but it's still a decently close race. But I don't think it's going to be flipped.
yeah. So you also have North Carolina as Lenar.
Yeah,
All
I do.
right. So another state that I think goes to Donald Trump is the state of Georgia. Georgia's another state where the Harris campaign is
Yeah.
somewhat optimistic in, likely because of the fact that there's a huge African American population in Atlanta, and they hope that they can get that vote out. But I don't think they'll succeed in doing that like they did in 2020, mostly because, again, 2020 mobilization efforts were like a lot better, and the COVID 19 pandemic certainly helped them in the state. And at the same time, also, early vote data in Georgia is also looking good for Republicans, just like North Carolina, and there are signs that Dem efforts to get black turnout higher are failing. So I think Georgia does flip red this cycle.
Yeah, and you also have lots of black men voting for Trump too,
Yeah,
a decent amount, and so I think Georgia is solidly red.
yeah. Wait, do you mean solidly red, or do you think
No,
like?
no. I
Yeah,
mean, like solidly red for a swing state.
yeah. That's fair. Do you think
That's what I
Trump
meant.
has a better chance of winning North Carolina or Georgia?
I think North Carolina by an absolute hair.
Yeah,
Although North Carolina and Georgia, I think, or as maybe Arizona too, are as safe swing states. But the way when I say safe, I mean, of course, in the tier of swing states, but the ones that I think he is more likely to win than not.
yeah. And speaking of Arizona, I think Trump probably wins Arizona also. Pretty much like every single poll in the state has had Trump winning, like consistently. Plus, like the demographics of Arizona, it's very Hispanic, and many Hispanic voters there are moving towards the right and Donald Trump. Plus, at the same time, I think the Green Party is actually on the ballot there, and there is a chance that they could steal some votes from Democrats and Kamala Harris. Though,
Also, they're also a border state too, so they might be hit a little bit harder by the max influx of immigrants too.
yeah, that is true. Plus, like, I'm not as bullish on Arizona as some other people are for Trump because of the fact that like 2022, like Kerry Lake lost the state. So for actually like all of 2023 and like the first half of 2024, I was actually pretty confident the Dems would win Arizona. But recently now my mind has sort of changed on that, and I'm actually now pretty confident that Republicans win Arizona. But I think it is going to be closer than a lot of people think it's going to be.
Yeah, and now we get into the fun ones.
Yep. So so before we get to the Rust Belt, which is certainly going to decide the election, let's go to the state of Nevada. So Nevada early vote data there has been looking like fantastic for Republicans. Now, for like a very long time, almost this entire cycle up till now, I was confident Democrats would win Nevada, mostly because again, winning Nevada for Republicans has been very hard. It's like every cycle they've always been thinking this is our year. This is our year. We'll finally get Nevada, but it hasn't happened. But I think this time it is finally going to happen, and they flip Nevada red. Mostly because, again, early vote data there is looking really good for Republicans. They have a lead there. Plus, polling is pretty good for them. Although, to be fair, Nevada polls do typically overestimate Republicans. What do you think, Ben?
I think I think this one's going to be very, very close. I would say I think it's going to go Republican just by the smallest hair possible, mainly uh, I, because I think it's finally they have just enough momentum, just barely to make it. If they can just keep up like just minimal advertisement campaigns, just to get those like extra 1,000 votes they would need or whatever, maybe a few thousand more to just barely tip over the edge. I think they can win it. Although I would not be shocked if it went blue at all. So
Yeah,
I would
same
say
here.
very, very, very light red.
Yeah, I agree with that. So let me just fill in your map also. So far you have the pretty much the exact same predictions as me. So let's go to the Rust Belt now. Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. So let's first start with Michigan. Michigan, I actually think that Harris wins this.
Yeah, me too.
I think of all the swing states, this is definitely her best shot. Mostly because again, Joe Biden's problems in Michigan seem to be mostly a base problem with like getting like college voters out as well as Muslim voters and like many young voters out in the state. Also African American voters.
I
Harris,
also think I also think there's a problem uh, that I think Trump won Michigan by fluke in 2016, mainly because Hillary didn't really campaign there.
I think that
Uh,
also. Yeah,
yeah,
ever since
so
2016.
I think it was a very I don't I think it was a fluke in 2016. I don't think
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
really gonna
I was
happen.
about to get into that. Yeah, 2016. I think like yeah, that seemed like a fluke honestly because ever since then, Democrats have essentially dominated Michigan like 2018, 2020, 2022. So, I think Michigan goes blue this time. Do you have it as lean or tilt?
I have it as let me say. Uh, I would I would have it as uh, I'll do tilt just because I think it's gonna still be very close.
Yeah. Yeah, Michigan is probably going to be close. Like this is kind of a hot take, but I think Harris wins Michigan by more than Trump wins Arizona.
I mean, it's going to be the Michigan races. I think it might be. Actually, no, it might not be the closest one, but these are the closest to the second closest, in my opinion.
Okay. All right.
If I'm just blindly guessing, I haven't even looked at the early voting records yet, so
Yeah.
I have. I probably should have done that before we started. But anyways,
Yeah. So getting into the state of Wisconsin. So Wisconsin was the closest of the Rust Belt states in 2020, and probably one of the reasons why I've been fairly confident about a Trump win this cycle is because 2020 he lost by like a thread, and that was with COVID and like all that was going on there. That was like the worst
yeah,
possible year for like any Republican to run
I
in.
agree
And
with you. I think it's going to go red too,
yeah,
just by a little bit.
and
But
he
yeah,
still like lost Wisconsin by just like under a percentage point. And so, by the way, Biden won Wisconsin in 2020 by less than Trump won it in 2016. Plus, like Republicans have actually had some success there on the statewide level since 2016, not like other states like Pennsylvania and Michigan where they've kind of got dominated there, but Wisconsin they've had some success there, especially in 2022 when like they won the Senate race there. So I think Wisconsin goes red, but I wouldn't be that surprised if it went blue.
I think Wisconsin is going to go red too. Just mainly because they do have a decent amount of rural voters, probably a few more than like I said, like Nevada, where the state's completely desert. But I do think Wisconsin will go red. But although I wouldn't be surprised if it went blue by just a hair. But I honestly don't think it will because the only reason they won Wisconsin, I think, in 2020 was because it was an extremely extremely close race. Now it's with in like the worst case scenario when you had COVID and stuff. So yeah,
Yeah,
hopefully I don't get your channel banned for saying the word COVID.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I just to bleep that out.
All right, so yeah, Wisconsin. I think like yeah, and the other thing about Wisconsin also is the polls there have shown that Harris is winning it, but this is kind of more of a gut feeling for me than like polling or data because even though early vote data there isn't looking too great for Republicans compared to a state like Georgia or North Carolina or Arizona or Nevada, it is actually still like pretty. I think Wisconsin goes red mostly off of gut instincts. Like it's a very white state demographically, very like working class also, very rural also, more so than these other swing states. So yeah, I think Wisconsin goes red, but very narrowly. All right, now we go to Pennsylvania.
That's the most interesting one. I think it's gonna go red mainly because you just have Elon Musk, and I do think. I mean, I think he's gonna make sure Trump wins Pennsylvania. When you
Yeah,
have the type of money, you can put large campaign efforts in motion. So I think it's gonna go red. Still would be close, but I think, in my opinion, it's gonna go red because he has momentum there too. Uh, because there's a lot of rural voters in Pennsylvania.
yeah, I think Pennsylvania also goes red. And this is one of the reasons why Republicans got shellacked there basically in 2022 was because Dr. Oz and John Fetterman were like terrible candidates. And the places they underperformed wasn't even like the suburbs or the swing counties, it was like the rural areas. And Trump isn't going to underperform in those areas, especially after that like assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania. I think like the
Yeah,
turnout in these western rural counties in Pennsylvania is going to go up by like a
that's
lot.
gonna that probably made him into a living martyr for the Pennsylvania, especially the rural areas where you have lots of farmers and stuff.
Yeah. Plus, in Philadelphia and like Philadelphia inner city itself, I don't think black turnout there is going to be as high as Democrats hope it would be. And
Philadelphia, I mean, Philadelphia is the only thing that possibly could, if it wasn't for Philadelphia, Pennsylvania wouldn't even be a swing state really.
well, there's
But
also like Pittsburgh also, and
yeah,
like
Pittsburgh isn't enough to flip the entire state by
yeah,
itself though.
yeah, Philadelphia's suburbs have also been moving towards Democrats. So if Trump loses the state, it's probably going to be because of those Philly suburbs. But
Yeah.
as of now, I think Western turnout in these rural areas is going to carry Trump over the finish line in Pennsylvania. Plus, keep in mind also the early vote numbers in Pennsylvania, unlike Wisconsin and Michigan, which have looked not so great for Republicans, Pennsylvania, the early vote data has actually looked pretty good for them. Back in 2020, Democrats had like 1 million votes in their advantage. Now they have like less than 500,000 in their advantage for the early vote.
You know what?
So
Just to make it exciting, I'll change one. I'll change like one of my opinions just to make it slightly more interesting. And I'll say Harris will win Wisconsin
you
just to
think?
make it a little bit interesting, just
Okay.
to see who's closer when the election actually is.
Yeah. So you
Yeah.
think Harris wins Wisconsin?
Just by it, maybe just by hair. I actually really don't know. I'm just doing this just to make it slightly more interesting. So when the
Yeah.
election happens, we can see who's right. You're probably gonna be right. You know more than me when it comes to this, but
I don't know though. I could be wrong about Wisconsin because like the data there does show a Harris win. It's just mostly a gut instinct that I think Trump wins Wisconsin. But
I think Kamala is gonna really try and get Wisconsin because Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania are like the states she needs. 'Cause I think she knows she's not going to win Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, and Nevada has such little amount of points it wouldn't really tip her over the edge.
yeah.
So I think she knows she needs to win Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. She needs to hit those three in order to win. So
Yeah, I'd say that.
yeah, I think Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania is really all she should really have to focus on, and she should just give up on the other swing states, in my opinion. But I'll leave it at that, and I'll just differ from you on Wisconsin, and that'll be it.
All right, yeah. Basically, other than that, our predictions are kind of identical, like in the Sun Belt and Pennsylvania and Michigan. So, yeah. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure to like this video down below, subscribe to my channel, and also subscribe to Ben's channel. It's called Drucker White
Thank
CA.
you.
And anyway, see you all on Election Day, where I may be doing a stream or I can do a video the day after. So, see you all then.
Bye.